Hey guys, it's Tool here, and today I wanted to talk to you about my initial thoughts on the current climate of Diablo and Diablo Season 5. Now, at the time of this recording, these things that I'm going to talk about could have been changed, but as of now, this is what I think of the game. Now, full disclaimer, I am not a pro at the game, I'm not a theory crafter, I don't make build guides or anything like that. I guess you can call me a super casual enthusiast. I'm able to blast the game, find a really good build that the build creators create and blast every single piece of content in the game. So I guess you can call me like a super casual enthusiast of the game. So I feel like I've blasted enough. I'm able to give some actual thoughts on the season as a casual player. And I guess you can call me above average. I don't know. I don't know what you would call that. But so right off the bat, we'll talk about the Infernal Hordes, and the Infernal Hordes are great. They're amazing. They're very very fun. Just tons of monsters just coming at you really fast, and you're just destroying them and deleting them off the screen. Very very fun. The Boons and Banes, it's a very interesting concept. It's kind of like if you've ever played Vampire Survivors, it's very much like that, except uh, with every power you get, there's a negative. Instead of it in Vampire Survivors, you just get a power up, and that's it. There's no negative. So with that being said, what I will say is, once you clear all the waves, being from tier 1 to tier 8, and then there's how many waves is based on that, you end up going into a room with a bunch of chests where you get materials, gold, GA weapons, and things like that. Very, very fun, very, very rewarding, and it's very quick. I think on average, an Infernal Horde session takes like roughly 10 minutes, depending on. I think each wave is like a minute. So if you're running tier 8, I believe there's 9 waves in tier 8. That's about 9 minutes. And then you have to go fight the Fell Council in the final room. Probably add another minute or so, depending on how long that takes you. So roughly around 10 to 15 minutes. So not a bad thing if you just want to hop on and kill a bunch of mobs really quickly, and then hey, go get some lunch and go hang out with a buddy or whatever. So I think that's very very nice. The one thing I will say though is the negative is that right now there's two things. The first thing is that the amount of Aether you get for some of the boons does not equal out to other boons and banes. And I'll give you a good example of this. The Hellborn grants so much Aether. Like so much Aether, it's not even funny. Like anytime you see Hellborn, just juice them, you'll just get a significant amount of Aether. And I'm talking like if you're running like a tier 7, you can get between 800 and 1200 Aether by the end of each run. And you're just able to spam the chest at the end. So what they need to do is probably juice up the other mobs, like the Aether Fiends and the Aether Lords. Just aren't worth it. They're not worth killing those monsters. They just don't give you enough Aether, and killing Aether Lords takes forever. So whatever they need to do, whether it's give us more Aether, like maybe 5 or 10 Aether for killing an Aether Lord, or they need to reduce their health significantly so you can kill them a lot quicker, and then that would incentivize people to do the Aether Lords and kill them so they can kill them faster and get more, right? So the other thing I'll say that it's negative about doing the Infernal Hordes is it basically invalidates the pit. And so if you run doing like a tier 7 and you get like 800 Aether on average, not even that, you can get like 400, 300, doesn't matter, 300 to 800 Aether. You spam the crafting chest, and you get like I believe you get 25 neat iron every time you spend 20 Aether on the crafting chest, and you can just sit there and spam it, and spam it, spam it, spam it, and then you're walking out of there with like 500, 600 neat iron. And for context, if you run a pit level 95 and you clear all the mobs and you kill the boss, you get like 50 neat iron. It's just not worth it. I would much rather spend the 11 minutes killing all the mobs, and also it's a lot more fun. And just spamming the crafting chest versus running through a dungeon and killing all the mobs and then killing the boss, which takes like 3 minutes. So we'll talk about that now next. So the pit, like I said, that pit's been invalidated by the Infernal Hordes. However, the boss health of the pit also needs to be tweaked, and I'll explain why. And that is because I think, in my opinion, the pit boss should be a skill check for you for the tormented bosses, mainly speaking in Dariel and Duriel. And what I mean by that is, if you go and run a pit level 95 or a pit level 100, you clear all the mobs and they die like nobody's business. They die so quickly. If you're running a good build anyway. and you get to the boss, it takes you like 3 minutes to kill the boss. It takes a little bit. And then at that point, you're just dodging the mechanics that could potentially one shot you. And yeah, it's just not fun. And so, but then my point is, so that should skill check you getting ready for the tormented bosses, and it doesn't do that. What I mean is, if I run a pit level 95 and I kill the boss, which is like I believe 95 gives you a level 192 boss. It takes me way longer to kill that boss versus a level 200 tormented Duriel or Andariel, which just gets melted by Spear Lightning, which is the build that I picked for this season is Spear Lightning Sorcerer. Check it out on Maxroll. And it shouldn't be that way. Like, I should be able to skill check whether or not, oh, hey, I don't want to waste the materials to go fight Duriel and Andariel, Tormented, when I know how I'm going to turn out fighting 192 pit boss. I should be melting that pit boss. It should be about the same amount of health as Duriel and Andariel. That's how it should be. So you're able to like give yourself a skill check. In my opinion, that would be nice to be, and that's not currently how it is. So in my opinion, they should definitely reduce the amount of health that those bosses have, and also to reinvalidate them, so you're not just sitting there spamming Infernal Hordes to get all the Need Iron. They should buff Need Iron from the pit. Absolutely, they should double it, in my opinion. That way, people can find a reason to do any type of content that they want. And also, another thing I want to talk about is Nightmare Dungeons. So Nightmare Dungeons, the only way is only relevant because it's the only pathway to clear glyphs. Well, if you're like me and you've played since the beta, you've played season 1 through up until now, every single season, doing Nightmare Dungeons to do your glyphs over and over and over every single season sucks. They need to add it to other parts of the game, whether that's Hordes, whether that's Pit. They should just add it, and I should be able to jump into Diablo once I hit 100 and I get my, or not even that, I hit 50 and I'm ready to do endgame content, whether I'm in World Tier 3 or World Tier 4. I should be able to choose between the Hordes, the Pit, and Nightmare Dungeons. And I'll be honest with you, if I wasn't forced to do Nightmare Dungeons, I would probably choose them just to get like a breath of fresh air. If the other two options, being Infernal Hordes and the Pit, offered glyph experience, maybe you could do it like this, right? And this is me just spitballing here. You could have it to where Nightmare Dungeons give you the most glyph experience, but maybe Pit and Infernal Hordes give you some. So that way you're not just like, oh man, now I hit glyph level 15. Now I have to go and run all the way to 21, and you're just sitting there spamming dungeon. And also, another thing I want to point out is that all the dungeons are not created equally. Like, some dungeons just suck. Like, well, there's one called Endless Gates, and I only memorize it because it's terrible. You have to run through these portals, and then that's how you finish the dungeon. I immediately delete that Nightmare Dungeon immediately. That is just a terrible dungeon. It's such a waste of time. Not worth the glyph experience, so I always delete that dungeon. So I guess my point is they need to make the dungeons shorter for the Nightmare Dungeons, and then adding glyphs to other content, so you're not just locked into just doing one thing over and over and over. Now I do want to say last season, for season 4, getting gold and materials was a major time sink for me, and I hated it because it meant like I had to spam whispers over and over, and doing whispers was kind of a pain in the ass last season. But this season I made getting whispers a lot better, and it is good and it is better, but doing the Infernal Hordes, just way more gold. You can literally get like 600 Aether or 400, kill the Fell Council, get to the final room, open the GHS first, then open some crafting mats, and then I usually wait till I have like 100 Aether left, open the gold chest, and now I have like maybe on average 15-20 mil ready to go, so I can go back and masterwork all my stuff. And I don't know if you consider this a plus or a minus, but because of the Infernal Hordes, with how much crafting mats and money you get from these, doing at least tier 7, you can masterwork to level 3 no problem. I don't know if that's what they wanted, or if they're going to nerf that, or what have you. Maybe they didn't have enough people getting to 3, so that's why they did this. I'm not really sure. It felt good. It felt good to be able to actually go, hey, I want to go get gold. Okay, I'll open a gold chest for this infernal horde this time, and then after that, I'll get some more neat iron, or maybe I need more gems, so I'll open the crafting chest, or maybe I want to farm some. Like the infernal horde is really good because it gives you variance on what you want to target farm. And they've pretty much tackled everything in the game that you could possibly farm for, except for boss mats. Now, I really want to talk about this, and maybe they'll patch this by the time this video comes out, or maybe they'll add this to the game. But they need to add a transmute feature for boss mats. And I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure you cannot do this. And what I mean is, I want to be able to take the 300 blood for Zir that I have and be able to turn that into like malignant hearts for Varshan, or taking all the Beast and Ice mats and converting that to Varshan, or vice versa, right? If I want a bunch of living steel, I should be able to take these mats and convert that to living steel. Living steel, though, is not really a problem, and so is the Silk Spear. We'll talk about that now. Is I'm able to get a bunch of other boss mats, but some other boss mats I'm not able to get a bunch of. Now, whether that means they need to reduce the amount of hearts it takes to run Varshan. As of now, it takes 5 hearts to run Varshan. They need to probably tweak that to just 1 heart. And then for Uber, you can do, 27 I think it is for the Uber ones? Something like that. They didn't make it a lot cheaper, because right now, or make Varshan drops drop a lot faster. And a lot more frequent, I guess, I should say. Because right now that is not the case. I have barely any Varshan mats, and I can't really do Duriel, so the next best thing is to do Distilled Fear, which you can just spam Nightmare Dungeons. If you run Nightmare Dungeons, you get 3 Distilled Fear on the higher tiers, and that is a lot. You only need 27 to run 1 Tormented Beast and Ice run. And so I guess my point is to wrap it up there, is the amount of boss mats are not distributed equally, and they definitely need to fix that. The other thing that still doesn't feel good from last season is the tempering system. And it's basically, what I mean by that is you can get like a GA weapon or item, right? And you go to temper it, and let's say you just enchanted it, right? Oh, I had int armor, and now I want cooldown reduction. Well, I had to spend some money to get that final enchant that I wanted for that 3rd affix. And it's a GA, by the way. And now I have to spend more RNG going to the tempering system, and then I just wasted 3 rolls on overpower damage, 3 times overpower, and it wasted my rolls, and it bricked. That feels bad. That does not feel good. It is garbage. They need to fix it to whether either A, make it so that you cannot get the same roll back to back. Like, get rid of that. What were they thinking with that? That should not be a thing. And then the second thing is, if it is the same roll back to back, if they keep that in there, you should get a freebie. Like, it should not count. Because if I just had overpower and I rolled again and I got overpower again, I should not be wasting a roll. That would make the RNG system feel not as bad. It wouldn't feel great if you still bricked your item, even if it's a GA, but you should still, feel not as bad. Like, it just doesn't feel good. The other thing I think that they should add is create like scrolls, and they may not do this, but I think they should create scrolls to add 1 GA to your item. Just 1. That's it. No, you can't go further than that. You can't do 2. You can't do 3, because that would just make everything broken. That would also fix the tempering problem where you brick your item. Okay, here's another item that I like. I like the stats on it. Let me take one of those affixes and make it a GA. Right? That would make the tempering system better, and that way people that are not, grinding this game every single day, who has family, they got a job, they can't play the game for 8 hours a day, they can go and get a GA, and it feels good. It's not the end of the world. Maybe it costs, 5 million gold for a GA scroll that you can just slap onto your item. So that about covers it. I will say, we talked about boss mats, we talked about tempering, we talked about the pit, we talked about the infernal hordes. So I think that about covers it. And then the boss health and the pit. So I think that's gonna about cover my initial thoughts on season 5. I think it's great. Infernal Hordes is wonderful, and I hope they keep adding on to it and adding more boons and banes to the Infernal Hordes, because it's not just a seasonal mechanic, it's a permanent mechanic. And it's really, really, really good. The potential here is amazing, and I hope they add on to it and give us more goodies for doing it and making it more fun and interesting in the future. So, anyways, let me know what you thought about season 5, and I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya.